Welcome to The Little Things You Hear Together, the podcast that dives deep into Broadway cast albums to figure out how they work, what they reveal, and why some of them claim a bigger piece of our collective brains than others. My name is Alex Asp, and my guest today is the talented Hope Nordquist. Welcome to the podcast, Hope.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
So I'm so glad to have you here, especially because you were so excited about Wonderful Town when I was talking to you about a potential show to do for this season. But first, what is your relationship to music theater in general?
I grew up loving musical theater, and now I get to do it professionally, which is the greatest. It's the gift and a curse all at once.
Yeah.
But I grew up as a dancer and then started singing, but was mostly singing like classical music. And then deep down in my heart, I knew that I just wanted to do musical theater. I think it's maybe one of my favorite art forms, and I've always been an appreciator of it. And so now to get to do it's my favorite.
Yeah. And you've got a good array of theater companies here in the Twin Cities to have lots of options to work on tons of different stuff.
Yeah.
So I already spoiled it that we are talking about Wonderful Town today. What is your relationship to this show/album?
I remember seeing this show back when artistry was Bloomington Civic Theater. I saw a production of it there, and I was raised on like Sondheim, Compton and Green. And so I loved being able to see it after just listening to it as a kid. And then this cast recording is one that actually I had a physical copy of and I had digitally. And then when we agreed that we were going to do this, I couldn't find either copy.
Oh, no.
And I don't know if you know, it's not streaming. It's not anywhere. I had to like find a copy of it. But I love this cast recording. And I'm a huge Donna Murphy fan. So that was also, the show hadn't been in my brain for a while. And then this cast recording came back into my sphere as I was just a weird little theater freak as a high schooler and was like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
And was this recording the one that you knew better, or the original Broadway, or one of the other ones out there?
I knew the original better, and now I actually know this one better because I listened to it so many times.
Yeah. And
I think it's mixed differently. So it's more contemporary in terms of sound.
Oh, yeah. And I will listen to Donna Murphy all day. So
all day, every day.
Exactly.
The Donna Murphy household.
Yes. So for people who might not be aware, what is the story of Wonderful Town?
Wonderful Town.
You can say relatively high level.
It's like the two girls from the Midwest moved to the big city.
Yep. Yeah, and then a lot of the typical things.
Yeah, and it does a lot of the like tropes of that, which I really love. And then they both, fall in love and are trying to make it. And there's all kinds of just hijinks and that were also very indicative of that time of musical theater, I think.
Yeah, this is definitely a classic musical comedy in all of the stereotypical ways of the golden age of musical theater. So it's fun to revisit those, like you said, with a more modern sound, because this was recorded with a more contemporary feeling, which is a nice way to kind of get those two merged together.
I agree. And I think I do have such a love for classic golden age material. And I think that we now have moved into such a contemporary space, musical theater wise, just in the sphere of things. But I think it is, when you listen to the original recording of the show and then you listen to this recording, you go, oh no, we can still do that. And it doesn't feel like, it's dated in a lot of ways, but I also think that these stories still exist. There are still sisters who move to New York City to try to make it all the time. And it's hard and it's weird and you meet weird people and weird things happen. But like, I think that's why so many of these shows retain relevance too. But then when you update a cast recording, I think it really helps.
Yeah, this is one where I knew it kind of from before, and I don't know, I think in my head I was kind of conflating Wonderful Town with On the Town.
Yeah.
Especially because they're both Bernstein. And so It was kind of confusing for me for a long time. And I knew some of the music a little bit, but not, none of it very well. And then really it wasn't until I was starting to think about this podcast that I listened to it again. And I was like, yeah, this would be a good one to get to know more. And so then I've been listening nonstop for the last several days. And it's
right.
It's going through my head all the time, but it's really a very good score.
I agree.
And very well performed in this album. I listened to all the albums I could find of different versions of this, and this is definitely my favorite of all of them. A lot of times you're either going for more character voice acting, where it's not maybe the best quality of singing, but they're getting the emotion through. or it's too pretty and not sounding like a character at all. And there are not many people who can do the two at the same time like Donna Murphy can. So
I
she is
agree.
fantastic, and you get all of the amazing singing, but it's still funny. It's still giving you shades of different characters within her, like as she's impersonating other people and stuff like that. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So, as I said, this is music by Leonard Bernstein, lyrics by Betty Comden and Adolph Green, book by Joseph Fields and Jerome Shudderov, and it was directed by Kathleen Marshall with music direction by Rob Fisher. So it started in encores in the 2000 season and didn't come to Broadway for 3 years. And this is far before the current point in our Broadway history where they're aiming to move something every year to Broadway. And so
Yeah.
this was a big deal. Like it was so well received that they wanted to bring it back. And I think the biggest one before that was Chicago, which is obviously still running. But
Mm-hmm.
but it really meant something when they liked it so much that they would bring it back to Broadway at that time. And you can see why, especially apparently Eileen was played by Laura Benanti in the Encores version,
Mm-hmm.
which I would love to hear that audio because she's another one that can sing perfectly and get the emotion through so well. And so the two of
She's
them together
phenomenal.
would be unstoppable. It's too bad that she couldn't come back to reprise her role on Broadway, but oh well.
I know.
She's done many other great things.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting. And then I think Jennifer Westfeldt was a great choice for the Broadway run. I think that she's so lovely in this score and in this role.
Yeah, especially the character of Eileen is a little bit sweeter and staying above things, whereas Ruth is very eager to get in and get dirty if she has to. And so I think the actors are very well suited to their characters, and it just makes it so much
Yeah.
fun to have them, playing with each other, even just listening because you can't really watch much. I think really the only thing that's out there that I could find is a few crappy clips from like rehearsals and then the Tony's performance. But that doesn't have Jennifer on it. It's only Donna and the company.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you kind of said, this is a typical golden age musical. And so for modern audiences, you have to get back in that mindset of how musicals used to work because a lot of stuff otherwise it would not fit in a lot of modern theater today. Like there's a lot of one-liners, there's a lot of really hokey jokes, really predictable songs that it's going to go like this because this is how it goes. And once you give yourself into that, it's actually very comforting to feel like you're at home, even if it's their first time listening to it, which was why they were so popular, is that they could be relatively similar to each other, and that was comforting and not cliched. So, not that there's anything wrong with the modern style of doing things more gritty and real and all that kind of stuff, but it is nice to revisit these classic shows and get a glimpse of what it was like when that was the norm.
And I do love the format of an old musical. I love a big ensemble number starting the show. I love just hearing the progression of going, oh, yeah, there's about to be a dance number. Oh, yeah, there's about to be this. Oh, here comes the love song. Oh, here's this comedy number. Here's this. And especially when you have a score like this, hearing that full orchestra and getting a full orchestra in a dance number. When you think about Ballet at the Village Vortex, like growing up as a dancer, like that's the kind of music I wanted to dance. That's the style of dance I wanted to do. Like
Yeah.
it's so specific to musical theater and to Bernstein's score. Like it for me, this score and this show encompassed so many of the things that I love about classic musical theater.
Yeah. And like you said, this orchestra, I mean, because it came from encores, they kept the full, I think, 32-piece orchestra, which is crazy, but that's why it sounds so great because you've got so many amazing musicians all contributing together, and so you can get lots of different kinds of sounds. And I understand why that doesn't happen more often on Broadway because money is a thing, but I do love a big orchestra.
There's nothing like it. There's truly nothing like it.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I think, last year, whenever it was, I went to New York to see the A Little Night Music concert at Lincoln Center. And so they did that score with the full orchestra and like
gorgeous,
bigger than you'll ever hear in an actual staged version. And it was just so lovely. And I just wanted to sit in that forever.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. I love that show too.
Yeah. There's so many good shows, and I love that I'm getting to know more of them. A little fringe benefit of the podcast. Overall, any overarching thoughts before we start diving into more specifics?
Nah, I think they'll probably just come up as we go.
Yeah. The one thing that I wrote down as I was listening to these songs over and over is how neutral the lyrics are for the most part. Comden and Green are very talented at writing very quality lyrics that do not draw attention to themselves.
Yeah.
Or to like, hey, I'm a good lyricist, look at me. And so it's a hard balance for lyricists to walk, to either be overly simplistic and, ooh, that's a rough spot, or they're just showing off. And so I love that they are so talented at repeating things when it makes sense to repeat a lyric, but having something new when it needs to be something new. And they were very, very talented at knowing where that balance should be and that it's not the same for every show.
Yeah. And I think there are great lyricists in that. Also, everything, it's clever, but it's smart, but it all moves seamlessly and it works so beautifully in the storytelling too. And I agree. I don't think we see that as often.
Yeah, which is too bad, but at least they wrote a lot of shows that we can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so to get into the tracks, we start off with the overture. This is the only show that opened this season that had an actual overture, which is one of the things I do miss about the older shows. Is I love a great overture. It's a fun way to kind of get a quick summary of the show in a medley, just if you're listening on your own. And I definitely am the kind of person that has a playlist of overtures that I put on shuffle sometimes when I'm feeling very nerdy. But it's so lovely.
Favorite? There are so many good ones, and I love that you do get a musical preview, and it gets you into the space of the show.
Yeah.
I think there are some shows where as a device, it totally works to just start. But I do love the act of sitting down, getting familiar with the orchestra, getting familiar with the space before we launch in. Like I think as an audience member, it could be a really nice way to just tune in.
Yeah. And it's a nice way to really be aware, oh, the show's coming. Get in your seat, unwrap your candy, whatever you need to do. It's coming now. And while I do like to listen to an overture intently, it is meant to kind of be that get to your seats. Here's a little warm up. You have no excuse to be late because we already started something, so hurry up. When I was putting together the trailer for this podcast, and I was trying to figure out what song to use from each show, I kept coming back so much to the section of the overture that's My Darling Eileen. It's just so happy and peppy, and I love it every time.
It's great. And I think musically, too, hearing the way the show flows in its overture is also very interesting to me because the modulations and the way that things may sound different or a different key of something, but that it all just seamlessly rolls in. And I think this overture is, I love it. I also, as an actor, love an overture because that gives me like 3 minutes in the back to just pump up and get ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love in this overture, we keep coming back to from the Wrong Note Rag. And rather than just having a section for that song, we get that little thing peppered in throughout, which is so fun because it's a great little vamp, I guess, for lack of a better word.
And I do love it too, because that also being the culmination of the main plot being like, okay, well, here they are together. And to hear it that early on as something that you're looking for and going, I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is if you don't know. And then that bringing you all the way to the end of the show, I also really love.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see a resurgence of overtures in the near future. That'd be nice.
Please.
They do happen sometimes still, at least. Not very often, though.
In a revival.
All right, fair, yeah. So after this wonderful overture, we get into Christopher Street, which, from what I can gather, is just introducing us to this physical space of Greenwich Village.
On your left, Washington Square, right in the heart of Greenwich Village.
Mind what trees, smell that air, painters and pigeons in Washington Square.
It's a tour guide leading people around and seeing some of the colorful characters of the neighborhood. I think it's a lot of fun. It's bouncy. It's getting us used to that style of the show with the one-liners and things like that. So I do really like this song. It's very catchy.
I do too. I also think it paints such a clear picture of where we are. And as a plot device, I think that's really, really useful. And I think it sets up where things are headed. I also think that like Condon and Green and Bernstein in particular, so much of their work is a love letter to not only the art form, but also to New York City. So I love that when you think about On the Town, when you think about Wonderful Town, and you think about the ways that they sing about New York, about neighborhoods in New York, about I think it paints such a clear picture, and it also, while you're meeting like colorful characters in this moment in particular, but you also are hearing this love and reverence for this place, which I really love.
Yeah. And it definitely has, we start off the show with the whole mood that we're going to be in, but it also is highlighting how far back we are, that it's, 1935. And the line of like,
I'm very broad-minded, Lonergan, but when a tenant gives rumba lessons all night, she's got to have at least a photograph.
It's like, okay, this is going to be a little bit misogynistic at times. It's 1935. We're just going to have to go with it. It's a little cringy every once in a while like that, but that was the norm at the time. So,
and I mean, it still is in so many respects too. I think the thing that I find really interesting is having done Anything Goes recently, which, written in the early 1930s, and having the way that people in 2025 will still like really like roll in the aisle laughing at misogyny. And I go, well, the joke's set up like a joke, so I don't know what I expect.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like the "what are you clapping for" moment. Like,
yeah,
you were set up for that, but if you actually think about it, it's not great.
Yeah, so I think it is interesting, and I think recognizing though that when we are doing a period piece, like embracing the full scope of what that means, I think is so important, because otherwise, I think it loses. And I think because we are in 2025, having conversations about like, okay, well, why is that there? What is that? How are we going to handle that responsibly? How are we going to discuss that? I think is really important as well. But I also think just fully embracing where things are at, unless something is harmful, I think is also really important. Because I think when we talk about this show, it for sure got its moments of like bold, bright, beautiful feminism, but it also is a dated musical that is still of its time.
Yeah. And I think part of what's so great about theater is if you rewatch a movie from this time, it's going to be exactly what it was then, no changes at all, unless it's remade as a movie. But with theater, anytime you put it on, you have opportunities to set a different context around lines that you can't change because the line is the line. But, when somebody makes that one-liner sexist comment, somebody else could like smack him over the head or something to show that this is not,
right.
This doesn't have to be how everybody thinks about things. Some people are just going to be a little bit behind, and that's not, that's a big difference than everybody else going, oh yeah, haha, and like high-fiving him about his comments.
Right.
So it is nice that you have that freedom when you're staging things to, at least to some degree, update how an audience perceives it, if not the material itself.
Here we live, here we love. This is the place for self-expression. Life is mad, life is sweet. Greenwich Village, Greenwich Village, whee!
So after Christopher Street, the next song is Ohio. And as somebody who is from Ohio, I understand this very well. But it probably is one of the more well-known songs in general from this show, I would say.
Yeah. And I do think it is. I actually really like it as a duet. I think it melodically. I love that the way that they sing Ohio is how most people say Ohio.
Yeah.
And I think the harmonies within it are very interesting in the way that they're utilized in this versus the reprise.
Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why did I ever leave Ohio? Why did I wander to find what lies yonder when life was so cozy at home?
And man, because originally Rosalind Russell, so that roof line gets low.
Oh yeah.
She's down in there. And I think Donna's got gorgeous tone on those low notes. But I think it is funny because you go, oh, that's low. That's down there. And I also love the oh wait, child.
Yeah. It's so good. I love these harmonies. Like, again, it helps that it's Donna singing them because she's so great, but it's a fun line on its own. It's not just a harmonization. It's kind of almost like a counter melody in some spots, which is really fun as a listener to have more to pay attention to in a song that is moving slow enough that you can pay attention to those things at the same time.
And it is so layered. And I think I find that I have so much more fun doing score study on older scores because I think the intentionality was so different. I mean, where we're at right now is like we're getting a lot more like jukebox musicals and we're getting a lot more based on XYZ things. the source material, different things just have to fit a certain way. But in an old school musical, the score study on it is so, I've been doing a lot of score study with passion. And I think the score study in this is also so interesting. I approach music like text. And so I love just looking at that. And unfortunately with this one, I didn't get time to sit down with this score and like pour over it because I love that. But I do think the counter melody is so interesting because both of them are there for similar reasons, but it already is illustrating how different they both are.
But how nicely they can work together, and it really does do so many things just with that simple technique of choosing a counter melody. It has so many thematic implications that are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And they both are gorgeous voices, and they're very different. So at first you might not be sure, how are they going to sound together? It's like, oh, it sounds very lovely. It sounds just what I want it to be. I am very happy, which is always nice because sometimes good voices don't quite mesh as well as you would like.
Yeah.
But not the case here. I do appreciate, honestly, okay, so it took me several listens through this to realize that the middle section that's spoken is entirely in verse because it's such conversational pacing and tone that it does not jump out at we're speaking in an awkward rhythm and we are rhyming. It is in rhythm and it is rhyming, but it just feels so natural.
But you're not even thinking about it.
It's so well written and then so well performed to keep it from being stiff. It's just a very hard thing to do. And I really appreciate, I guess that was Convent & Green over the book writer, but very, very good.
And I also love too that moment illustrates so many things about who Ruth is in those gossipy neighbors and everyone talking who's going with whom. We already are setting up something that's coming. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah. And that's such a small thing that obviously you wouldn't recognize if it's your first time seeing the show. But I love things that reward repeat listens or repeat viewings by you get more each time. I think that is a great way to have longevity to keep people engaged. Is it's not just the same old score every time you listen to it. You're going to catch new things.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'd better go home.
So then after Ohio, we have Conquering New York, which is a mostly instrumental piece that I'm guessing is a mix of dance and, a scene of them moving through the city and getting, from what I understand, looking for jobs and getting rejected. This feels like the most Bernsteiniest of the Bernstein in this score, and I love it so much.
I do too. And I think it's so, because there's the dissonance of it, but that it's still loud and bold and like beautiful. Well, also just, he's so good at painting an emotional picture and a physical picture with his music, because as you're listening, you can picture exactly what's happening. And you'd be like, oh, here they are. They're moving down the street. Oh, here they are. They're trying to get this job here. Oh no, it didn't work. Now they're moving on. And I think I miss that in old musicals too, as like these instrumental sections where so much plot occurs through movement, through physical expression, through music. But I feel like we also have so much less of that now as well.
Yeah, I mean, back in these times, most of the musicals that were coming out were by people who had been studying their craft for a very long time and only wrote musicals. And now we have so many more like singer-songwriters that are writing shows. And you have people of all different backgrounds coming, which is fun in that you get different types of sounds on stage, but you don't have the same career musical theater writers that have that bag of tricks that they can pull out. I need this for this moment to do what is happening in the show, and I need this for over here. And obviously Bernstein was one of the great composers of the mid-20th century, so it's not surprising that he was quite good. But it is very impressive still. Even knowing how good he is, you're still impressed.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing I know the answer to this because you have a strong dance background. In general, on cast albums, how do you feel about instrumental sections, whether that's a dance break or an interlude or, a track like this? Because I know some people are very against having those types of things on an album. And I don't know why you'd be against having more music. And obviously, if that's taking the place
I don't know
of something
either.
else, maybe.
Because
But
I love
yeah,
more. I always want more. And if it's part of the show, I want to hear it. I also think as someone who does a lot of research when I'm prepping for a show, if something doesn't exist somewhere, that also means you may be hearing it for the first time in full when you're in rehearsal. I believe that cast albums also are such a good time capsule of that experience. And that's how so many of us are able to experience things that we couldn't go see or that we weren't alive yet to go
yeah,
see or, geographically like that just wasn't in the cards. And I think I love being able to hear fully what a show is because I'm only getting little snippets of it and I don't get to see it. So I would love to hear it in its entirety,
yeah. Like I love when they do like a double album and have all of the
Mhm.
instrumental breaks, dance breaks, the incidental music that's under a scene. I love exit music because that I think is so
Yes.
fun, and very few albums do it because they just don't have room. But I am with you. I want everything.
And because it's the way that we consume that. Like before we had like readily available YouTube bootlegs, this is what we had.
Yeah. And they're still not always readily available. Like there's no bootleg for Wonderful
that.
Town. As I was like, I really would like to see this, but it's just not out there.
This is just like locked down. You
Yeah.
cannot get this. I feel like I maybe had a bootleg on an old external hard drive and I can't get it to work. So I
hate
was
that.
digging for it and I was like, I wonder if I can find this. But
Yeah, so even current things, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to find a bootleg, or at least not one of any good quality that you can tell what's going on. So even for current
Yeah.
shows, the cast album is still very valuable for people who can't get to New York to see it, or
Mhm.
did get to go to New York and want to relive that experience and remember what a great time they had. I mean, I guess I'm biased because I did start a podcast about cast albums, but
I mean,
I think they're important to a lot of us, and it's how musical theater is able to have such a life despite being
Yes.
so much largely based out of New York and London. But the rest of the
Yeah.
world can all be a part of it through the cast albums that come out.
it's community building. I mean, look at the Drowsy Chaperone and you think about the man in the chair. And at the end of the day, like we are all the man in the chair listening to our cast recordings, being like, oh, wow.
And offering our commentary along the way.
Exactly. Here we are.
Here we are. So next up is 100 Easy Ways, which is...
I love this song.
I forget which number. So there's somewhere in Finishing the Hat, the Sondheim book of lyrics and
Yeah.
everything, he talks about how when he saw this the first time, he's like, oh God, there's going to be 98 more of these, aren't there? And he didn't like the predictability of it, which he was part of that wave of trying to be less predictable and moving the art form forward. But it is fun to just have this as the one. It gives so much comic fodder for a great actress like Donna. It's so
Yes.
funny. It is so funny.
The comedy chops in this role, I think, are so, you get to hit so many different comedic beats. And so I think this role is just a gift to smart comic actors.
Yeah.
I think this song in particular, I mean, it's kind of cheesy and it's kind of its time, but I love the setup of it. Of this woman, this is where she's at. Here's 100 easy ways to lose a man. And I think it's smart. And I don't know if you've heard the original, Condon and Green tell the story about when they were writing this song, because they wrote it for Rosalind Russell. And she said, I've got a 4-note range. It's going to have to go da-da-da-da-da-da joke, da-da-da-da-da-da joke. 4 notes, joke, 4 notes, joke.
And that is what they gave her.
And that's what they gave her. And I think that's brilliant. And I mean, they were working with what they had. And I mean, I think Rosalind Russell is a brilliant comedian.
Just
I don't
not-
know if you've
not
ever
best
seen the
of singers.
1930s version of The Women with her and Joan Crawford and I think Nora Shearer. And she's so funny. And they wrote her a great Act 1 song.
Yeah.
And it's character building, it's world building, and I think it still fits.
Now the first way to lose a man, you've met a charming fellow and you're out for a spin. The motor fails and he just wears a helpless grin. Don't bat your eyes and say, what a romantic spot we're in. Just get out, crawl under the car, tell him it's the gasket, and fix it in 2 seconds flat with a bobby pin. That's a good way to lose a man.
Well, okay, so that's for me. That's the thing. This song is pretty cringy for me because it does hold up. Like this is still a thing that a lot of men are put off by women who are not helpless. You know, like
Yeah.
a very good friend of mine is a female doctor, and that has been an issue several times when she's gone out with somebody because guys don't seem to like capable women, which is
Yes.
very confusing to me. But it's still a thing. It's not. It's not like, oh, isn't that funny that they did that in the 50s? No, they would. It still works today.
No, they still do.
Yep, it's still there.
And I think too, I am a person who I appear in the world as a bubbly, fun gal, but at the end of the day, I am an intelligent person and a capable person. And so the reality of that, as someone who sometimes unfortunately dates men, is that someone will want to get to know me based upon the fact that they have met me somewhere and I seem fun and bubbly, but then they're like, oh, she's smart, I can't do it. Oh no, I gotta go. Which also though, I'm so torn on the setup of it, right? Because I do think yeah, here's a really great technique to getting out of this situation. Just show a guy that you're smart and capable and can handle things and that he can't explain how baseball works to you. But then on the flip side, I'm like, oh yeah, but then it also makes these people run the other direction, which is the flip side of it. But also, if you're running in the opposite direction, good, don't need you here. But
Yeah, exactly. So one of my favorite things in this song is the way that she says,
98 ways to go.
I was just gonna say
it's so out of
98
nowhere.
ways to go.
It's so weird, and I love it. And she has so many great ways to say things, and it's not the same voice. I forget which recording.
And it's so varied, and I love that every time it's different.
You see, with the use of the preposition to, who becomes the indirect object, making the use of the word whom imperative, which I can easily show you by drawing a very simple chart.
Yeah, I think it was the 86 London Revival recording that every single time she just does the baby voice. I'm like, all right, that's very one note. It's not funny after the first time. We already heard that. And so I love getting more variations to have it continue to surprise us and be funny.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that she is clearly talking to someone different every time. I think that gives it that clarity too, which I really appreciate. I just say she's a smart actor. And when you got a director like Kathleen Marshall too, you just are set up for success in that way where it gets to just snowball into something great.
And it does. It's so wonderful. And then, so now Ruth has had a big number, so she gets a little bit of a break where she's not the main person singing in the song. So next up is What a Waste, which is fun. It's, again, repetitive. It's the same basic premise of a joke with a different variation each time. But it is very entertaining, and I do love Greg Edelman's voice. It's so...
I do too.
So good. And interestingly enough, there was a 96 studio recording with Rebecca Luker, Karen Mason, and Ron Raines, and he played Rec in that one. And so it's kind of fun that he got to come back, I guess, 7 years later and have a lead. So I love that for him.
I do too. And I think he was great. I think this song also is, we got so much world building in musicals back in the day. I mean, I still think that happens now, but the construct of so much of it is less about world building and more about character building or scene building, which I think is fine. But I like that so much of this score and so much of this recording, what everyone is singing is furthering the world that we're in, is furthering the plot that we're driving, and I think it all works together so well. And especially in this moment, because you go, oh, so here's what's going to happen to her. Yes. Here's what it is.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a very quick way to get a lot of information across about how, dog eat dog it is in New York. And yeah, you think you're special. So did all of us. And yet here we are. None of us have realized our potential. And that gives you so much about where the world is currently and where her trajectory seems to be heading currently. And it's all done so simply and quickly. Yeah, it seems like it's going out of your way to build the world, but if you're doing it well, it's actually making it so much easier to get your story through because you're setting it up so that you don't have to do all this exposition later and in a much clunkier way.
Right. I would love the exposition to happen in a musical number versus a 7-minute scene that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have just spoken all of these words, but it's much more engaging if he sings them, if the story is a song.
Yeah, and then you get the baritone who becomes a fishmonger and is just singing fish so beautifully.
Kid from Cape Cod, fisherman's family, marvelous singer, big baritone. Rented his boat, paid for his lessons, starved for his studies down to the bone. Came to New York, aimed at the opera, sing Rigoletto his wish. At the Fulton Market now he yells fish.
What a waste, what a waste, what a waste of money and
Fish.
And so Greg Edelman is playing Bob Baker, and because there's not a whole lot of, we spend a lot more time in the album with the female characters, I get the male characters confused very easily.
Yeah.
So he is playing
unless it's past that football.
Yeah.
Then I know where I am.
I'm clear on that one. So this is the editor of the paper?
Yes.
Okay.
But then let me double check so I don't say something incorrect. Oh no. Let's see. Yes. He's the editor of the paper and then eventually of a thing.
Yes. So he is the one that gets paired with Ruth eventually?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Eileen ends up, I mean, we're spoiling a
Spoiler.
72-year-old
If you listen to the
show.
cast recording, it'll be spoiled for you anyway.
Yeah. But just I'm trying to make it clear as I go through about, wait, who is actually singing?
Yeah. So he's the one that she is initially, that Eileen is seeing. And then Ohio reprise.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, why didn't you say anything?
Okay, that's also the confusing thing then, is that there's swapping, and without visuals to go with it, it's harder to follow.
It's hard.
Yeah, that's okay. So I think this is way catchier than it has any right to be, and
Yes.
gets stuck in my head not infrequently now, but that's okay. Because that's followed by another song that's very easy to get stuck in your head, A Little Bit in Love, which I Eileen.
love.
It's a very sweet song. It's very disarming. We get to see, I think this is Eileen's first solo.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, she had the duet of Ohio, but now this is her first time singing by herself. And so we get to hear her lovely voice. And it's just the, when he looks at me, that little bit is so, it grabs you and it's wonderful.
When he looks at me, everything's hazy and all out of focus. When he touches me, I'm in the spell of a strange hocus pocus. It's so, I don't know, I'm so, I don't know, but I know if it's love, then it's lovely. It's so nice to be alive.
And I love too the nature of like the hum into a lyric of like the way that you just kind of hum to yourself when you're in love, and when you're just, I'm a little bit, and then it becomes a bigger idea, a bigger feeling with words. I love that as a musical tool.
Yeah. And like this is the kind of song that would typically have fairly inane lyrics that you just like roll your eyes at, because often that's what's done in this type of a number. And Compton and Green are like, nope, we're going to make it actually interesting. There's going to be some really smart, but not, boldly attention-grabbing lyrics so that you stay engaged with the character the whole time and feel what she's feeling rather than getting pulled out of it to think about the words.
And then you do get this beautiful character picture of Eileen in this moment too, which I really love. And I think it would be so easy to play her as an ingenue soprano with nothing in her head. But because of the way that these lyrics are written and the way that this melody is, it lends itself to her being a full realized person, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, especially the younger sister would often be played that way. And it's so nice to have it be a different experience that we can enjoy, and not just, yes, there are a lot of tropes in this show, but not everything has to be the standard trope, and we can have surprises. And then after that, we have Pass the Football, which starts off with the melody from What a Waste, and then kind of T-bones right into a different melody, and that's what we get for the rest of the song. It's a weird transition.
And then you go, got it.
Yeah. It's such a weird song, but it definitely tells you more about this character. And
yeah, and I think it's funny because this is really his shining moment.
Yeah. Like, this is his only song. And
yeah,
when I was listening to the album.
But he gets one.
Yeah.
A whole song.
All by himself, not even somebody here and there with him. I was so confused listening to it why he has his own song, because I'm like, why do we care about this random football player? And then as I was reading the synopsis, he actually has a lot more to do with the plot that's just not in the songs. So it does make sense that he would be featured more, but the first time I listened to it, I was like, who is this person out of nowhere?
What is it? What is this for?
Yeah. And I guess it's just to set up that he's not too bright, but has gotten a lot of things because he can pass that football.
And some things don't change.
I mean, I would hope that he couldn't pass the bar exam anymore, but
and
you never
I
know.
would also hope that. And yet we've seen what comes of people who have a skill or a talent. But so I mean, the relevancy of the song stays, like that still stands up.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little depressing to listen to a 70-plus-year-old show and be like, oh, we haven't moved past that. Okay.
Yeah. I will be honest, as much as I think it's a good song, it often is a skip for me because I'm not listening for the plot.
Yeah. And it's also, so this is a fun example of how melody writing is so different for instruments and voice. Because the bit that he has, the Like Nothing You've Ever Seen, is a great melody that a human voice is not going to ever sound natural singing.
Couldn't spell a lick, couldn't do arithmetic. 1 and 1 made 3. Thought that dog was CAT, but I could pass that football like nothing you have ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it's going up, down, up, down, up, down. And it sounds great on the orchestra, but every recording I've listened to, it's a struggle because it's just such an awkward melody for a human to sing. And so I'm surprised that snuck through.
And it is so interesting to think about, like, why is that the case?
Yeah.
But I think it's this is for sure a specific character study song.
Yeah, very good for that. For, somebody starting out and learning how to analyze a song and a character. It gives you a lot to go with for that. Next up, then, is Conversation Piece, which is probably a major skip for me. It's such a weird track, and yet I do love the mini monologues in it.
Yeah, I think there's some really fun nuggets in it. And as a whole, I often go, yeah, take me back to 100 Easy Ways, or can we skip forward to the next Ruth Sherwood thing?
Yeah, because most of the song is not sung, and so you just get a little bit of Eileen near the beginning.
Nice talk, nice people, it's friendly, it's gay to sit around this way. What more do you need? Just talk and people, for that can suffice when both the talk and people are so nice.
But like the monologue about the ice cream sundae versus banana split.
Well, sir, he eats the whole thing. I look at his plate, and I'll be hornswoggled if he doesn't leave the whole banana. He doesn't touch it. Not a bite. Don't you see? If he doesn't like bananas, what did he order a banana split for?
I think he does such a good job of giving a full character and a full story just by the way he's laughing at certain parts and seems very obviously flustered and nervous at other parts. Like he's telling a story to somebody that he wants to impress and they're not getting impressed. And so he's like, what? I mean,
oh God.
And it's just so well done that even though it's not a track I typically want to listen to, it's hard to deny the good performances that are happening in it.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate it for what it is in the theme of the show, because I think it is a really great way to set up everything that's happening.
Yeah, because it's meant to be awkward, right? This is a bunch of people getting together who don't know each other very well, and so it's that awkward. Well, I'm going to say something and hope that it goes over well.
The Moby Dick monologue too that I just love.
And the fact that it ends with...
It's about this whale.
Literally.
Like, I love that she started the story thinking of make her sound smart, and then she realizes she never read it and doesn't know anything about it other than that it's about a whale. And she salvages it as best she can.
It's about a whale.
Yeah, that's all I got. I am very curious about the last one, talking about the girl that he met in Panama, I think it is. She's built like a brick, and then it cuts to the music. I'm like, that's pretty provocative for 53.
Yeah. However, when you look back, you go, when I think about this, when I think about some other things of its time as well, I go, oh, but so they were still a little raunchy with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just was never allowed to be spoken about, but they were all
Right.
They were all thinking it.
But because we think it's old timey, we're like, oh no, and then that'll hit you, and you go, oh,
Yeah.
oh wow.
And it does come out a lot more in the theater than it did in movies or TV, because the theater didn't have to adhere to the Hays Code. So unless they were, as in this case probably, concerned about appealing to a wide audience, they could do whatever they wanted pretty much
That's true.
if they were willing to take the economic decrease in people who would want to come see it because of content. They weren't legally restricted like others.
Right.
I have a friend who
That's really interesting to
who
think
really
about.
loves Cole Porter lyrics and how and some of the stories behind how he had this lyric that he wanted and then was told, no, that's too much, we can't do that. And then he reworked it a little bit, and so it's thinly veiled, and it's so fun.
And then when you think about all the innuendo he put in Always True to You in Kiss Me Kate,
Yeah.
like it was still very much, and I mean, Cole Porter was very much, here's this clever thing, look how clever I am.
Yeah.
And look at all the innuendo, and look at all of the things that I can do, and look at how many queer and gay jokes I can throw into something or mask in something, which I also really love.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do love looking at the evolution of lyricists throughout the last century. But I don't know enough about that to talk intelligently yet. So for now, we can just move on, I guess. So next up is A Quiet Girl, which is this is often a skip for me because its power is in, it's just got an elegant charm. It's soft. It's pretty slow. And if you're really in the show, like in the mindset and you're following along closely, I feel like it works very well to get you what you need. So watching the show or intensely listening to the album. But if you're casually listening to it, it's not going to keep your attention from whatever, cleaning or walking the dog or driving compared to the others.
But it is really a lovely melodic moment in the show. And I also think it's him, he's kind of he knows this, but he's also kind of discovering it at the same time, which I always think is very much a thing that a male romantic lead does, is he has this song where he knows, but he's also discovering.
Yeah. And or admitting to himself what he knows, and he knows, but he can't say it out loud.
Yes.
Or maybe a combination of the two sometimes.
So I think in that respect, it does exactly what it wants and needs to do, which I appreciate about it.
Yeah, that just doesn't always...
And I do think it is beautiful.
Yeah. And doing what you need to do just sometimes will not translate to a track that we want to listen to over and over on that cast album, because it has to do what it has to do, and that can't always mean a bop.
Right.
It just, that would not be a good show if every song was a bop.
No, because you can't handle banger after banger after banger. You've got to low key somewhere. But I think that every character that gets a song does get something that is really specific and special to them, which I really appreciate about this song in particular.
Yeah. So not a whole lot else to say, but it is a beautiful skip.
I love a quiet girl. I love a gentle girl, warm as sunlight, soft as snow.
And now we get to the end of Act 1. So in the plot, we've been having romantic interests amongst different people getting together, miscommunications, go figure. And so now, what's his name? The reporter, editor, somebody wants to get rid of Ruth to have some time with Eileen. And so he sends her on this bogus story.
And it's, what's his name? His name is Chick Clark.
What a great name.
Yeah.
And so then we get this song, so Conga is her talking to these Portuguese sailors, I believe.
Yeah.
And this is one where only Donna Murphy has sold it to me. Every other version...
I would agree.
Every other version just feels like, okay, we've literally had the same joke, and now it's repeating every 20 seconds. Like, it's a fast repeat.
This one is beating a dead horse for sure.
Oh, yeah. But she finds ways to pull it out and still make it interesting, even though the lyrics here are nonsense. Like, she's just naming things that rhyme, but are not related in any way.
What do you think of the USA, NRA, TVA? What do you think of our Mother's Day? What do you think of the policies we've established? Yeah, that's the Congo, all right.
And so many of the recordings, as soon as they interrupt her with conga, they stop talking. And Donna keeps talking and kind of gets a little bit shorter and shorter until the very end when she joins in with saying conga.
What's your opinion of women's clothes? Major bows, Steinbeck's bros. How do you feel about Broadway Rose? What do you think of the... Conga!
which is such a great arc of a weird song that doesn't have a whole lot there.
Right. And I think that this song is hard too because it is the same joke over and over and over again. So what does it become? And how does it snowball? Like we talked about in 100 Easy Ways, because I think it would be so easy for this to fall flat after a minute. But it continues. And I do think this is where the lyrical cleverness is really helpful because that keeps you engaged too. But also then you're going, what are we even talking about? But she doesn't know either. So she's just going. Okay, well, what about this? What about this? What about anything, which I think is also really helpful.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is much easier to do on stage with the visuals of the dancing, and you can make this a big production number if you want. And so I think that's why they got away with it before. But I think Donna Murphy's the first one to say, I could actually make this interesting vocally as well.
Yes.
And it's so good. All the things that she says in between the verses, like the one time I like, no speaky Portuguese. And then like she's just so weird and the most random things that are hilarious because it's her.
And I like the way that she allows this character to be weird.
Yeah.
Because she needs it, I think. Because otherwise there's no like lightness to her, I think, if she's not kind of a weirdo.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that. Because, I mean, yeah, it just gets weirder and weirder. And the show gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I like what you said, that she doesn't know why she's there. She was just sent on this bogus assignment. And so she's just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
And whatever the editor actually wants, she can say, well, I asked about that. And so have something to say. But they're not having it.
Right. So here's what I have for you. And also the idea that she's also like aware that there's a language barrier and that there are all of these things prohibiting her from getting what she wants, which is success, so she can have a job. So I think the thing that Donna does that's really interesting is like the stakes feel really high for what it is.
Yeah. Because to her it is.
And I think that's really, that makes it, right?
Yeah. And I do love with having the same joke over and over and over, it does make the last one much funnier when...
Yes.
What do you think of our double malts? Family vaults? Epsom salts? Wouldn't you guys like to learn the waltz now? You just want to come out!
And then it's, all right, fine.
All right, I might as well dance because I'm not getting anywhere. And so...
All right, fine, I'll do it too. Maybe this is the story.
Yeah. So that is your payoff for the same joke over and over, is you get that fun twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the Act 1 closer, which I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Like, here, everyone's dancing. Have fun at intermission.
Yeah, which is, put the audience on a good note to go out into the lobby. And although I think, is there a book scene after this to end Act 1? Because isn't there like a riot and somehow Eileen gets in trouble for it and thrown in jail? And that was very unclear on the synopsis I read.
But I think it is very, like, it's happening as there's still a musical moment. Like, I think it's a very quick book scene, if I remember correctly. Okay. And then I think Act 1 just ends in absolute chaos.
Which is a fun way to end an act if it's done well. So
a good cliffhanger. Oh no, what's going to happen next?
Right. And then, I don't know if there is an entr'acte, but we don't get it on the album at least, if it is. So we come...
Oh, I think...
Do we? Is mine missing that?
I think... Oh, there's not.
Yeah, you would think for a show like this that there would be.
Interesting. Okay. I thought there was.
Maybe it's on a different version. I don't remember.
I'm going to look because now I'm very curious. Because I'd be surprised if there was one and they didn't include it.
Yeah, it's not even on the 96 Studio Cast, which is a double disc.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like that one has the exit music.
Interesting.
Oh, no, there is one. I can't read. There's a 3-minute and 46-second entr'acte on that one alone.
Got it. Okay, so it's just not included. Understood.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I would like to hear it.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you the one that I have from that recording at least.
Yes, please. I would love to listen to it.
And then, after the entr'acte that we don't know about, we come back to My Darlin' Eileen, which is one of my favorites, really. It's so stupid and funny and just musically very catchy.
Yes, and it is that classic, like, let's open up the act with something kind of silly.
Yeah.
And get everybody settled again.
Yeah, back in the mood, back in the world that we've created in Act 1, and not something heavy-hitting, but just big and fun. And so my understanding is that Eileen got arrested at the end of Conga, and now she is basically running the police department because all of the Irish cops think that she's Irish and love her because she's also so beautiful.
Take it from me, in Dublin's fair city, there's none half so pretty as pretty Eileen. Take it from me, the mayor of Shannon would shoot off a cannon and crown you the queen.
And these lyrics I think are very clever, but still not drawing attention to themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just love when she has her verse and she has to break it to them. Yeah, I'm not Irish, sorry. And they're like, no, hush, you're Irish.
No, you are.
They won't believe
and we
her.
love you.
Yes.
Stop.
You're our queen. Just don't argue with it. Go along.
Please stop arguing. We love you.
This
is
funny.
Who we want you to be.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous in the best way that, not that you can't do that now, but it's definitely not done as often as it was back then.
Yeah, no.
And so I appreciate some of these things like this that are, I wish they were more widely used today as a storytelling device that's just fun.
I agree.
And again, I love that melody that I mentioned in the overture because it's so catchy.
It's catchy. It's fun. It's
got the nice jig feel as it should for an Irish number.
Yes.
Oh, so good. And then after that, we go into Swing, which I believe is Ruth took a job promoting a nightclub to make money to bail out Eileen.
Yes.
And she does not sound happy about it at the beginning of this track.
This number is fun. I feel like all of her numbers just snowball.
Yeah.
And I do really like the comedy of this one, the vocal chops of this one. I think this role in particular is very hard because it's kind of all over the map musically and vocally, and in terms of just all content. I think you're playing a lot of different things all the time, and I think it's very challenging, I think.
Yeah. I just love at the beginning, she's like, get hip. Like, I don't give a shit about any of this.
Step up.
Step up, step up. Get hip. Come on down to the Village Vortex, home of the new jazz rage, Swing.
And then she kind of gets into it more. And this was the one that they did at the Tonys, or at least an abridged version.
It's my favorite day.
I'm so confused by that line. Like, it comes out of nowhere, and why? I don't can you tell me why?
This, like Conga, I feel has so many things where she's like, I'm just gonna grab. I'm grabbing, and I'm grabbing in the dark.
And then the whole, your favorite dish is fish, Gesundheit, thank you, you're welcome. It's so weird. And I go back and forth on whether I like it.
Compton and Green had some weird stuff that they wrote. They did their duo show, A Party with Compton and Green, and they have a whole number where this goat herder is in love with, I think she's like a princess or like royalty or something, but it's just, they also play the peasants, and there's this whole thing where it's just, la, 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 we're the peasants gambling on the green. And it's just weird. They have written some really they have this, they have Other Town, they have Under 20th Century, like all of these things. But then they have this pocket of really weird stuff that they wrote. And I think some of the music in Wonderful Town absolutely lends itself to the weirder, fun, silly parts of them, which I think this and Conga really are indicative of.
Because I think that's more how they got their start, right? They had their own troupe doing things on Broadway, and it, from what I could gather, tended to skew sillier.
Yes, and it was ridiculous. Some of it, it lives in my brain rent free, and it's just the two of them being just silly,
bonkers,
and I love it. And so this harkens very much to some of the stuff that they were then.
They were not technically part of the vaudeville era, but they had that kind of mentality a lot, it seems.
But it verges into vaudevillian, yeah.
Like we don't need to go back, but we can still have fun with some of the stuff from vaudeville.
Right, and I think that this song also very much is that.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Swing, dig the rhythm. Swing, Dig the message. The jive is jumping and the music goes round and around. Get full of Furiakasaki, get full of the sound of swing. The solid groovy jivey sound of...
Again, it's not my favorite on the cast album because you don't get all the visuals of the dancing, which is a lot of fun.
Sure.
And the Tony's performance is on YouTube, so you can watch that. And you can see as the number progresses, the storytelling through dance is well done. It's not just dance for the sake of dance. It starts off relatively small.
Dramaturgy.
It should be. Some people don't seem to understand
well,
that.
Well, it should be, but yeah. No, exactly.
The dancing starts off small and not that frantic, and then just gets bigger and bigger as the story goes. So you're getting visual storytelling with the song, and it's very well done. So it makes sense that Kathleen Marshall won her Tony. She did not win for direction. Yes. She won for choreography.
Because it was great. It was her and Rob Marshall both are so good at storytelling through dance in a musical theater medium. Because he did the Chicago movie.
Yeah.
And he did the 9 movie. And I think his Chicago is one of the best stage-to-screen adaptations.
Absolutely.
And I think that he did such a nice job with the world building and the way that he would... The choreography was so... It was storytelling, and I thought it was all really, really... what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is escaping me.
I feel that.
And so that's how I feel about Kathleen Marshall's work for the most part as well. I think she's really, really great at storytelling through dance. And I think it's different when you're storytelling through dance in a musical versus in a full dance show. Because when you go to the ballet, you're at the ballet. That's the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Because in musical theater, you have so many different elements of storytelling. To be able to do all of them well, I think is really hard. And the idea of choreographing to storytell versus choreographing to have a big showy ensemble number, those are two different things.
Yes, absolutely. And you can make a very good showy ensemble number through the story, which is why you should not...
As we see in this number,
you should never think that you have to give up one for the other. You can do both.
I agree.
You should do both.
I agree.
So after this now, we have the Ohio reprise because Eileen is out of jail now. Although I believe it's not through Ruth's dancing money-making, right? It's somebody else springs her.
Yeah. And this is where it all gets, it's Bob. Bob gets her out.
Okay. So good for Greg Edelman.
Thanks, Greg.
What a great guy.
Good on ya. And I think this reprise is interesting because it does the thing of like, here we're doing the sadder reprise, which the first one's already sad. So now we're getting even sadder. But I miss the walking away style, and some of the counter melody is not in this one.
Yeah.
Because it is a reprise. It's shorter to the point, and it now there's conflict between them, not around them.
Yeah. So thematically it makes sense, but musically, I'd like some of what we had before too.
Yeah.
And a large part of this track is the book scene, which I feel like for the amount of talking that is happening, the amount of information that is conveyed to the listener is actually not that high.
No, and that's very interesting because I feel like when we have gotten to this point in the show, we don't actually know, unless you know the show, that Ruth is in love with this guy.
Yeah, and even that is not as explicitly stated as I would think, like because they're relying on the context of people watching the show and knowing what's going on.
Yes, and the book scenes I think it is very, here we go, it's happening. But so I think it is really interesting to think about the exposition on this recording because there are some plot points where it's like, if you were listening to this, you would not understand the plot point with the landlord and the art and Rec and all of that. Like, there's no context for that.
Yeah,
which I think is really interesting.
Because it's Rec steals a painting from the landlord to hawk, and I forget what to use the money for, and that's part of like the riot scene, right? Or
yeah, and then eventually, even in the synopsis, there's stuff that's missing, and I go, who is this person? Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Because like Rec's got this girlfriend, and he's trying to impress the mom, and like all of that. But you would have no clue because we've only heard him singing about the football.
The one time.
And
all we heard about Helen was her like one line in Christopher Street. Like,
yes.
You can't hawk Dickie.
So really kind of wild.
Yeah.
The plot is weird.
I feel like there was definitely a period of time when they were getting a little bit more experimental in the storytelling on Broadway. And so some of these shows are just like, what? It sounds like a fever dream that somebody had. And they're like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like this second act, the idea of like, oh, now she's going to be a singer at the nightclub. What?
Why? I don't know, but it's going to happen now.
But here it is.
Yeah, and that's fun in a chaotic kind of way, but if you don't know what pieces you're trying to put into some kind of a picture, the puzzle is just frustrating more than it is entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh, why did we leave Ohio? Maybe we'd better go home. Maybe we'd better go home.
Okay, so after Ohio Reprise, we have It's Love, which is very sweet. And this is still part of the, like you said before, the realizing what he already knows moment. Although in this case, he's being told.
But I also love that Eileen helps him discover it.
Yeah, especially which they have that, relationship from earlier in the show that's not as clear on the album, but it does make it even more sweet that she is saying, oh no, I can see it. You both like each other. It's love. Don't fight it.
And she's coming through as a sister for her sister. And it's like, okay, you're in love. Look, you're both in love. Great.
And it's a very, very lovely melody, very catchy. In a lot of ways, it's a very typical Golden Age musical love song.
Yes.
But they were popular for a reason because they work.
It's true. It worked and it's good.
Yeah. And we'll get to a different version of it in a minute when we get to the bonus tracks. But it's funny how you can just change things about it and it feels so different. Like here, compared to when it's faster later as part of the finale, and then when it's slower on the bonus track, it changes the vibe significantly.
Yes, and I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, because usually you'd think you'd have to do more to make it feel that different, but it really just, that one tempo change is enough to make it feel very different.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah. And I do love those kinds of songs where you can, especially out of context, you can do different things and make it fit your cabaret or whatever by just very minor changes. It's a lot of fun.
You're a silly girl. It's a sign of youth.
You're a silly boy. You're in love with Ruth. It's love. It's love. Come on now, just try it.
It's love. It's love.
Don't try to deny it.
And then we have the ballet at the Village Vortex.
When I hear that, that's what I want. Once again, that's how I want to dance. That's what I want to dance to. That's the kind of, that is musical theater dance to me. That is, and it's also very Springsteen.
Yeah. It's slower than I would expect for this place in the show, where we're kind of building to the wrong note rag. I would expect something more upbeat. And it's not like it's a downer, but it's not as fast and peppy as I would have guessed at least.
But I think it's really sexy in the way that they did. So it is giving that nightclub vibe, which I do. Because this is the first time we've been inside the nightclub.
And I was getting confused at first because what is the story? Because she's at the nightclub before, but she's outside trying to get people to go in.
Yeah,
and now
they're inside, and this is
now
the world.
We left
and
we've come back, and she's in a different role, and now we're going into the atmosphere, which is why it's a sexier vibe. I don't know what else is happening during the song. Is it just mood setting, or?
I think it's mood setting. I think it's dance, and I want to see a good version of this because I can't remember what it looks like because it was man, Kathleen Marshall. Listen.
Yeah, I do love dance shows that again are not as common anymore, but something about it that is just calming and nostalgic and hopefully very artistically stimulating as well.
Yes.
Hopefully they're not just moving around for the sake of moving around.
Right. And so I'd be very curious to see what kind of world building Kathleen Marshall did with that moment. Because I think musically it is absolutely setting a scene.
Yeah. And so you would sure hope that she would match that energy with the dance and that they were, and they obviously not collaborating because this is a revival. And so it was a long time before that it was written. But with how well the rest of this show is done, you would think that she would lean into that vibe and not try to fight against it.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe there's a video out there somewhere. If anybody knows of it, send it to me in hope.
Yeah, we'd like it, please. Thank you.
And then from there, we go into the wrong note rag, which the title bothers me because they're not wrong notes. It's just a different style
It's
of music.
written that way.
It's written that way. But whatever, I get it. It's catchy. Fine. It's, again, this is very Bernstein. I love, this is not as much of the rhythmic Bernstein where you get funky rhythms like he especially loves 3-on-4 or 3-on-2.
Yeah.
But we do get the dissonance, the wrong notes that he does very well. It's so catchy. This gets stuck in your head so easily.
I think it's really fun. And I also, though, often skip it because it becomes an earworm. And I go, nope, we're not doing this today.
Yep.
But I think it's really interesting. The song that they get up and sing, it was two little Ohio gals, is this weird song at this sexy nightclub. And they're like, do.
Here's our premiere. It's weird. Get used to it.
Here we are. We're getting used to it. We're from the Midwest.
This is how they dance in Ohio.
Oh, there's a new sensation that is going around, going around, going around, going around. A simple little ditty that is sweeping the town, sweeping the town, sweeping the town. Do 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 do. They call it the wrong note rag.
But I also think it's a really weird, almost last song of the show.
I mean, the energy is there, but it makes no sense.
Yeah, but then everyone's like, "Ooh, fun! Okay, this is great." This is also weird. If I was at that nightclub and we just had that sexy ballet at the Village Vortex, and then this is happening, I'd be like,
yeah, tonal whiplash.
Yeah.
That note is such a strong note. It makes me rig-riggy tick-tacky.
Wig-wiggy.
Yeah, what is going on? Why is this happening? It's fun, but also unsettling because I don't know why it's happening. So it's a specific kind of vibe, though.
It is.
But it's also, yeah, very, very different, again, from what came before and what comes after. Because next is the finale, which is back to being a sweet, typical finale that reprises the love song. So it's just mostly
and
it's
let's
love.
tie it up with a bow. Everyone got what they wanted.
Yeah, and it's, wrong note rag in between these two is wild.
Really.
But as a matter of having that song out there to be fun and catchy, cool, great, love that. In the context of the show, very confusing though.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's really not a whole lot else to say about the finale because it's just a quick reprise of It's Love.
Yeah.
This is the one that's a little bit faster, so it feels more hopeful and peppy rather than contemplative.
Yep.
And then that's how
because now everyone has what they want.
Yes, happy ending for all, except probably for Rick. I don't think life's going to go well for him.
Shoot.
No.
Good luck with the football, man.
Keep passing it.
It's love at last. I've someone to cheer for. It's love at last. I've learned what we're here for.
I've heard it said, you'll know it when you see it.
And then on this album, we get a couple bonus tracks, which we love. So both tracks are Compton and Green singing demos, I assume, with just a piano.
Uh-huh.
So it starts off with Ohio, which I do not like Adolph Green's harmonies in here. Like, I'm glad they changed him for the real show, but this is like so awkward.
The place they landed, I think, is I love when you get to hear something in process like that.
Yeah, and who knows how early or how close to the end they were, but I'm definitely glad we got what we ended up with.
Yes.
Wondering while I wonder, why did I fly? Why did I roam? Oh, why, did I leave Ohio?
I do think it's interesting, though, that they put 3 of these songs together in one bonus track, and then one song for the second bonus track. Like,
yes, it is weird.
Either combine them all or have them all separate. Why 3 in 1?
We're going to mash them all together, I think.
Yeah. But with It's Love, this is the one that it's slower. It's a lot jazzier. It feels like you're out at a piano bar having a martini, and it's just a really relaxing song at this speed. And I love it.
Which I think is so interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it is cool that you can take this one melody and have it serve so many different purposes.
Yeah, I think also Betty Comden sounds very lovely on this song in that jazzy style. And I understand that doesn't fit the show as well, but I'd love for that to have more of a life.
But it's nice for us.
It's nice for us, yes.
It's love, it's love. Well, who would have thought it? If this is love, then why have I fallen?
I don't love, however, A Quiet Girl with Adolph Green. It's too slow and it just feels like it's dragging or trying to be a lullaby. And
yeah,
it's not for me.
I love a quiet girl. I love a gentle girl. Sweet as music. Soft, soft as snow.
it's not my favorite. I really like listening to Adolph Green sing because I just think he's very expressive. And I also always really enjoy hearing a writing team performing, like singing their own material, just because you get such a different insight into it. But I do agree that because I also am, my ear is so used to what it is on the cast recording that I go, wait, what's going on?
Right. And it definitely is different to have the writing team singing their own stuff when they had a performing background first. And so it's not just like, Sondheim's demos that he never claimed to be a great singer and he's just, pounding it out so that it's there for the backers or whatever. They put more energy into the performance of it because that's a big part of what they know in addition to the writing. And so it is especially fun to listen to Condren and Green do their stuff compared to other writers doing their stuff. And then we have the bonus track that's on its own, which is The Wrong Note Rag, which this definitely feels like they are playing around with what the harmonies are going to be, because he's trying all different kinds of stuff, and a lot of it doesn't work at all. Some of it kind of works, but not as well as what ended up in the song. But it results in him sounding like he doesn't know how to hit the right notes, and I don't think that's it.
And that's not what it is at all.
I think it's just
interesting because it is.
Yeah, like test driving different options.
And you just got to do the test run. Otherwise, how will you know?
Exactly.
And then we do have to share it with the world so that we know.
Yes. We did get there eventually. Don't worry about us.
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
Yeah.
It's got a little twist that simply drives you insane, drives you insane, drives you insane, drives you insane, because you find you never get it out of your brain, out of your brain, out of your brain. They call it the wrong note rag.
And yeah, that's all the tracks. On the whole, this score is definitely a lot stronger than I had given it credit for previously. And I'm so glad to know many of these songs better. Some I'm fine not being that comfortable with, but some of them are so lovely.
I agree. I think as a whole, when you have the book, when you have all the elements, I think the show still holds up. But I think the score has some really beautiful stuff in it.
Yeah. Not everything, everything isn't perfect, but there's so much greatness in it that it's fun. And especially, this was 53, so 4 years before West Side Story would be on Broadway. And so you can hear a lot of the ways that Bernstein's style was the same as it would continue to be, in some ways that it evolved after this before West Side, which is fun to kind of get that more of that chronology.
And when was On the Town?
I want to say it was like 47.
The movie was 49, and the musical was 44.
44, even earlier.
I just think that Bernstein did such a beautiful job at characterizing New York City through music.
Yeah.
When I think about walking down the streets of New York or like a busy New York street, I immediately hear On the Town. I immediately hear Wonderful Town. I immediately hear West Side. And I think it's really cool that has become such a canon thing for so many people of like, this is what I think of when I think of New York.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that New York would continue to be a major focus of a lot of musicals, TV shows, movies up to the present. But this really was kind of the era of it becoming a bigger thing and having a wider audience for the music of it. And so it definitely holds a very special place for that because it is so well done. And then it happened at the perfect time to be as monumental as it could be. Any other thoughts you have about this album specifically or the show as a whole?
I think it's really been interesting to revisit it. I haven't looked at it in a long time and I forgot like how many songs I love in it. I forgot how, not that you ever forget, but like I really forgot how truly glorious Donna got to be in this show because she got to do so many different things and just complemented so beautifully by Jennifer Westfeldt. And I just think that this is a cast and a show that work very well together.
Yeah, they're all on the same page as far as what they're giving, what the vision of the show is. And I think obviously a lot of that does come then down to Kathleen Marshall having the ability to wrangle everybody together into a shared vision. So I Yeah, I don't know. I think this is just such a packed season that I feel like it did not get the attention that it would have in many other seasons. But it still ran for almost 2 years, I think, around 500 performances. So it did decently well. And then, of course, there's the whole Brooke Shields coming in and doing her own recording again after doing that in Greece. So
I won't listen to that one. I haven't, and I won't.
I did to prepare for this podcast, and parts of it are not bad as far as the comedy. She finds some different jokes that are fun.
Sure.
But overall, once was enough.
Understood.
Yeah. And that album, the cover, hey, just so you know, it's Brooke Shields. We're going to put her face
Hey, did you guys know
big.
Brooke Shields is in this show?
I don't know if you heard, but I don't want you to miss this.
Yeah, I think this is a really great cast recording. I think the elements of everything are there. I think it's really, not that everything needs to be approachable, but I think it's approachable to a listener.
Yeah.
I think it's mixed very well. And I'm surprised that it's so hard to get your greasy little paws on it.
That is very weird. I have a digital version, but there's some sound issues here and there.
Yes.
And so I would love to find a better version, but it's hard. I don't know why.
I think it's the digital version that everyone's passing around now because someone ripped it to their computer with like a scratchy CD or something.
It probably is that, yeah. But at least it's what we have.
But at least we have it, and I'm very glad for it.
Yeah.
Because I missed this cast recording.
Yeah, and it's a fun one for sure. So you, I believe, have some Donna Murphy stories, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I've been obsessed with her for my whole life. And I ended up going to the Stella Adler studio in New York.
Okay.
To study musical theater. And I went there because she did, I believe it was through the Tisch. Her studio program was the Stella Adler program. And so she attended Adler and as a graduate of the Stella Adler studio. And Stella Adler's Woodward came from Stanislavski, but then became the Adler method. And when I would listen to interviews or read interviews with Donna, and she would talk about the way that she works and the way and all of these different things, I was like, that's like the kind of actor I want to be. That's how I want to work. And so I ended up learning more about the Stella Adler studio. And then I saw that I auditioned for my program twice. And the first year I didn't get in because I just wasn't ready. I was not ready to be in that environment. I was not ready to audition for that program, but I went out and did it because I had to prove that I could. And I wanted to go to Adler because I wanted to learn a skill set that like helps someone whose work I very much admire. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try this. And because I didn't go to a 4-year degree program. So I came back the next year and auditioned again for their musical theater program. And they were like, our program director remembers you and we would really like to offer you a spot. And so I went, and she was one of our masterclass teachers that year. When I was out at my second audition, she was speaking at the Drama League, and I went with a couple of friends and got to meet her and talk to her and just cried like a baby because I was just so honored.
Yeah, I would probably do the same.
And then I went with a couple of friends that I met. I used to like pals that we met on Broadway Internet Forum, and we all identified as Marfette. We were the Marfette.
I love that.
A huge Donna Murphy fan, forever and always. And we went to the Drama League and got to talk to her. And that was the year after she had done Into the Woods in the Park.
Which is one of my favorite Witches.
Her Witch is so great. I think
it's not a great quality bootleg to watch, but she is so good.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
So then she came in with one of her masterclass teachers, and I was supposed to sing for another artist. And I asked my program director, like Donna's the reason that I'm here, and I would really love the opportunity to sing for her and learn from her. And he was like, I can't let you do that because you're scheduled to do this one. If one of your colleagues would switch with you, that would be okay. And I had a friend who was like, duh, absolutely, all yours. You can. And so I got to, I think Kurt Weill's Lost in the Stars, and got to work with her and learn so much. And there were so many things that she said, I think, at that point in my life that I didn't understand fully. And now, as I've been a working actor and have thought more about this and been directed by multiple directors and have just kind of a different view of what I'm doing, a lot of the things that she said to me that day now have really kind of synthesized in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand. And so it's really, really cool. I have a friend that day who was taking notes for me, and I have recording of that day. So it was a really special thing. And it was also really special that when I got up to work in that masterclass, we had met once. I do not assume she meets people all the time. And I got up and we were all introducing ourselves, and then we'd start working. And I got up and I was like, "Hi, Donna, my name is," and she was like, "Hi, Hope, it's really good to see you."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is it. I've peaked.
Yep. It's all downhill now.
And she's been a person that has been in such support of my endeavors after Adler. and working on Passion, it's been really, really special to chat with her about
That's gotta be so surreal.
about character work, about the music, about how to approach how my process is going, about what my process even is, and so it's been incredibly special, and I have just so much like reverence and respect for her and her work and the kindness that she has shown. I'm nobody. I'm a little actor in the Midwest, right? Like, but the amount of like support and kindness that she's shown me from the first time I ever met her to now is something that I hold very thick in my heart. It's just kind of wild.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I've only heard similar stories from other people that she is just the warmest, most kind and generous, and cares about helping people, and the kind of person that you would want someone like that to be. And she just completely is, which I love.
When people tell you don't meet your idols, like, then their idols suck. Like, I met mine, and it's been the most incredible gift, like, that has kept on giving.
Absolutely.
And I think if the people that you are looking up to and whose work and talent you respect, if they are who they are, then you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a very special person to me, and it means a lot that she even gives a teeny little care about me. It's crazy.
I mean, you're a very lovely person as well, and everybody that I've met who knows you has said the exact same things about you. So it's not that crazy that she'd be nice to you.
It means a lot. It means a lot.
And I'm very looking forward to seeing you. I didn't get a chance to see Anything Goes, unfortunately, but I saw the number you did at Musical Mondays at least, so that was good.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. But yeah, there are so many things on the horizon for all of us. So I'm excited we got to do this. I'm excited that Robbie Duputy introduced us.
Yes.
And that this happened. If you're ever interested in doing an episode about like passion, let me know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, we still need to do our scoring.
Oh, yeah.
I totally forgot. We're having so much fun. All right. So now we'll do the scoring of the album. So out of 15 points, where 15 is the best music you've ever heard, and 1 is this is barely even music, what would you give this score for music? And we'll do lyrics separately in a second.
Musically, so, I think
Leonard Bernstein's contribution to this show.
Great. I think we're looking at above a 10 because I think musically it just is. I think musically I want to give it like a 13, and I only want to take points because I don't like the wrong note rag.
Yeah, I think there are some issues, but it is a very strong score. So 13 seems appropriate.
Yeah.
And then for lyrics, so now Compton and Green out of 15 points.
I want to say something very like a 12, 13, because I do think that what they do very well is that they are very clever. They are very smart, but it's also very consumable. There are not a lot of moments that feel like super cringy. There are not things that feel like they go so far over my head. And I think that the exposition is done very well musically and lyrically. And I think that we have to look at it as a period piece, and it exists in the vernacular of that. And so I think it's very strong.
All right. I'm good with that, with 13 again. So performance, technical performance, and we're going to separate this out from acting. The quality of the singing, of the musicians, the orchestrations, because that's kind of hard to separate out from the orchestra. Out of 15 points, what would you give this? So this is more based on the album and not the show as a whole.
I think actually like a 14. I think the only reason I'm upset is the entourage isn't there.
Yeah, I think there's very little
but from a technical standpoint,
very little to quibble with from anything on this album. I mean, Donna does everything amazingly. Jennifer, everybody is pretty great. I'd say for me, the 1 point would be for Rick, because a lot of times you have to give up some amount of prettiness in the voice to have the characterization that you want.
Yeah.
We can't all be Donna, who can do both, who can have all these different versions of a character and still sound flawless. So it's not a knock on Rick, but yeah, I think 14 sounds good for that. And then out of 10 points, the voice acting. So how much are you getting the emotions of the character? Are they painting a picture of what they're doing, what's happening? And so this is everybody, not just Donna, because obviously Donna would be a 10. But the whole show...
Donna's kind of cracked the board.
Yeah. So for the entire cast, how well do you think that the acting is giving you what you should or could get from a cast album?
I think I'm going to go with an 8.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's some.
I think the points that I'm taking are because when you have a book scene on a cast recording, it can get hard to be in that moment in a recording studio. So I think some of the dialogue sometimes when we're looking at something that's not, some of the quicker stuff for me gets a little muddy in that way. But as a whole, I think everyone's doing nice work.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, out of 15 points, how much do you get a story of the show? And we will then separate out a little bit for anything that feels misleading, that's not accurate to what the show actually is doing. But do you get a narrative from the cast album itself?
I'm going to go with an 8.
Yeah, I think it's very hard.
We talked about it. I was like, oh, actually, if I had no clue what this show was about, I don't think I would walk away from this cast recording with a clue.
Yeah, and it's good enough music that can be fine. And, not every cast album can be everything to everybody. So I think this is where it's going to drop its points a little bit more than the other categories. So then just 5 points of the story that we do get from the album. Is it accurate to what the show actually is doing? Or are there bits that are leading you to think one thing, but something different is true? So 5 would be everything is completely accurate and nothing takes me away from what the actual story is. And 1 would be everything's a lie.
Mostly accurate. I think it's confusing when you throw past that football.
Yeah.
Because his entire plot point is not outlined into anything other than book scenes.
Yeah, he plays football and he's dumb. That's all we get.
When you get to Act 2, it gets a little muddy because you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I think
you need the book in Act 2.
Yeah, I'd say maybe like a 3 because most of what we get is correct. There are a few bits that are so confusing that it kind of, like I said, really muddies the water of what is going on, and so maybe you thought you knew and now it's confusing even more. But it definitely thinks like a 1 or 2 because it's a lot of what it is giving is correct.
Yeah.
So that sounds good.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 categories are about the recording quality itself. And so this is more of a start at 10 and deduct issues that you have with the album, engineer, that side of things. So the first 10 points will be the audio quality. So is anything distant, sounding echoey where it shouldn't? So that's the first half. And then out of 10 points are there any balance issues where you're not hearing what you need to hear because the mix is not correct? Or is anything sounding out of tune because it's not balanced correctly? I don't think that there's a whole lot of issues with this album.
I think this one's pretty clean mix, and it's a pretty nice mix.
Yeah, I think this might just be a couple 10s.
Yeah.
Yeah, this section is more when we get to some older years and there are some bad recordings that I don't want that to skate by. So, and then last, out of 5 points, how would you rate the album artwork for this CD?
Let me look at it.
So is it representing the show well? Is it making you want to buy the album if you're at Barnes & Noble as a kid? Is it making you want to pull it off the shelf if you have a CD, if you have lots of CDs?
I mean, I think, yes, I do. My dad used to have a ton of CDs, like floor to ceiling in a full room in our house growing up. And I always gravitated toward that one because it was yellow.
Okay.
And it was bright. And I was like, what are these girls doing? And then I would listen to it. I think I do like it. I think it gives the 2 sisters sitting on their suitcases. They're here from Ohio. I think it worked.
Yeah. The one issue I have is that I usually forget that Eileen is there because Ruth stands out so much. And then Eileen kind of blends into the yellow-orange of the sunset.
Oh, yeah. Let me look again.
And like her blonde hair is there.
That's the only critique that I would have too.
But I think the fonts are good.
It's very Ruth-centric.
Which the show is as well, but... Yeah, I think the colors are bold and well balanced with each other. The purples are nice. The fonts look well.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you that it's about these 2 women and they've got suitcases, so they're traveling. I think it gives you a pretty good idea. So maybe like a 4.
Yeah.
Just take off for Eileen being a little hidden. Okay.
Yeah.
So that brings us to a total of 83 points out of 100. So not bad.
Okay, work.
And then at the end of the season, we'll review all the rankings and see if they seem to line up like we feel like they should. So,
oh my gosh, fun.
Well, this has been so much fun, Hope. I really appreciate you taking time out of your rehearsal schedule and all the other stuff you've got going on to sit here and talk about the wonderful Donna Murphy and this amazing album. If people want to follow or get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
I'm on Instagram at Hope Jane, and that's the best way to find me.
All right, perfect. Well, I will see you around town, I'm sure, in one show or another pretty soon. But thanks again for being here.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Thanks for listening to the Little Things You Hear Together. You can follow me on Instagram at Little Things You Hear Together, and you can also email littlethingsyouheartogether@gmail.com. The podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, so please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the fun. Join me next week when we'll be talking about the 2004 original Broadway cast album of Caroline or Change. Until then, treat yourself to the conga.